it's Green Girl. I did the voice. This is Tanya K. I did the voice for Green Girl in the Raw Man and Green Girl animated series.
Absolutely.
Yeah, kind of heroic. I'm kind of a superhero.
Yeah, you are.
Raw superhero.
She's a total superhero. I'm a very big fan of her work. You should see her doing those dancing and fire and all that fun stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. Well, thanks for coming on.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. So we hear that you overcame manic depression by adhering to a better lifestyle.
I broke the system of manic depression. Yeah. I'm still moody today. Yeah, and I'm still unpredictable. And I'm still highly creative, which are all symptoms of, manic depression. Right. But I wasn't always this easy to get along with. I was also very violent towards other people. Wow. And unpredictable in not so great ways, classic, in and out of emergency rooms and support groups and psychologist chairs. And
so did you ever beat anybody up?
I definitely broke things in homes and threw things at people, and
wow.
I was too violent. Yeah, I was too violent.
Wow.
Doors, yeah. But that's not the fun part. The fun part is that I'm no longer that person. I'm no longer displaying the symptoms of manic depression, not like that. And I was medicated for 7 years for manic depression on a concoction of different chemicals, and I really didn't want to be, because I was a vegan the whole time, and I had ideals that the natural lifestyle was the way to be, and I thought I was living according to that, and it just wasn't working. So at one point, I decided that I was going to go off my meds again for the third and final time. And my support group at that time said, no, don't do it. We've all done it. It's a disaster. And my boyfriend at that time said, don't do it. I will break up with you. And my psychologist at the time said, I won't see you because we don't see unmedicated manic depressives. Wow. And I said, that's just about enough for me. I'm going to do it. And I had heard about the raw food diet. As I said, I was like a whole food vegan for a long time before that. And I heard about the raw food diet about a year prior while I was working in Vegas. And I had decided that I was crazy. I had accepted it. I'm crazy. But I wanted to know what it was like to be crazy and healthy. So I was going to go off my meds and I was going to become healthy through raw food. And in the process of that, I just became healthy, period. And it's a miracle, because I never expected that. Everyone told you can't go off of meds. Like, this is not one of those things that is curable. And if I had believed them, I'd still be on medications today. And it's like freedom. The raw food diet is a tool for me. It's not the answer. I did a lot of self-work. Didn't just go raw. I did a lot of self-work, like cognitive behavioral therapy and self-love, refinement of relationships that were in my life. And today I kind of look at it like this. Everybody genetically is going to have a predisposition to displaying a certain set of symptoms under stress. And so some people might get migraines, some people get arthritis, some people get mood swings. And it's a matter of removing the stress or finding the triggers. What triggers the stress in your life? And food is a huge trigger of stress. Was for me. So removing the trigger of stress and just eating raw foods was kind of not like curing me. It was just letting me be as healthy as I really am. And I was preventing myself from being healthy like I really am before. And removing the drugs themselves were a trigger for stress. It's stressful on your body to take these chemicals your body doesn't know what to do with. So removing the drugs removed another layer of stress, and removing people that I argue with or don't believe in me was another layer of removing the stress. And so now it's a constant updating of my reality every day. How do I feel and how do I want to feel? And I have tools now. If I'm feeling like I'm winding up and I'm going towards, like what would be called a manic phase, then I eat less fruit. Because fruit is very spacey and it hangs high on the trees and you can reach up to get it. And fruit, it amps you up. It's a stimulant. But sometimes if you're a person that's, adjusting and balancing their moods all the time. You don't need to always be up. You need to center. And so I have the tool to use greens now, seaweeds and algae and salads, just freaking salads from your garden to get back inside and take the edge off of what would be called the manic phase. So I have tools that allow me to decide how I want to feel, where before it was just such a big mystery and I thought something was wrong with me, and we all have those things we say to ourselves about ourselves that aren't true. And I broke the system.
Totally. Wow.
It's a miracle.
So how long were you on the drugs for?
I was on the drugs 7 years.
Whoa.
And I've been raw 8 years.
Whoa.
So that means last year, on my 7th year raw, I celebrated replacing my whole body, because they say you replace all the cells in your body, whatever. So I really felt like I was finally drug-free 7 years after I quit the drugs.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how were the withdrawals? You just exercised them all out? Or
the withdrawals were hard. I'm not going to say it was all like peaches and roses right away. I went really deep immediately, and if I had listened to psychologists and the rest of the world, they would have you believe that that's called relapse, and that you must go back to the drug in order to not feel that way again. But I called it withdrawal and decided that the difference between relapse and withdrawal is relapse has you going back to the drug, and withdrawal has you withdrawing as far away as possible, because there's light at the other end of that tunnel. If you don't go back to the drug, then you have freedom.
Right.
And I made it through.
Wow.
Made it through 6 months of pretty intense withdrawal. I made it through, and the encouragement during that time, what kept me going, was raw food was sitting into my body as I was going through withdrawal. So I was also feeling flashes of ecstasy, like just pure bliss and joy several times a week.
Wow.
And that kept me going, because I can tell what healthy wasn't. Healthy
Right.
is not how this feels, and good is how this feels. And I'm going for good. I fell in love with health. Before, I was so concerned about how sick I was, and I could tell you every way that I was different than other people, and these symptoms, and that I was sick. And at a certain point, you don't care how sick you are anymore. You just fall in love with being healthy. Man, I'm in love with being healthy.
You're an inspiration.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my approach to raw food is really one of mental and emotional health. And that's why it's so important to me to see people approaching raw food in a healthy way. So if you're isolating yourself and you're shaming yourself for falling off the wagon, and you're nitpicking 100% this and 100% that, to me, that screams not mentally healthy. And that's my main focus, is my mind should be as free as my body is as well.
Wow.
So it's a constant monitoring.